Hello, everybody. How have I just come on and I have one people watching and 2 likes? I don't understand. Is that because I set up the camera a while ago and I was just waiting for 11:11 to happen? Okay, so everyone that's here, hi, welcome, how are you? Hey, Thomas Dale, I love you. Um, so, big announcements, 11:11, Madam Butterfly, Witchy Susie Q, Caitlin Bradley, Raven Silvermoon, Little Bunny Flopsy, ASMR. Uh, thank you. The buns don't match, which really threw me off. Like, I really liked this one because I twisted it before I bunned it, but this one looks more like a cinnamon roll. So I'm at the same time going like, "Urgh!" And it was difficult for me to be okay with the unevenness, but I'm doing it. Cherrybug D, how are you? Welcome. Buns are great. These buns and these buns, they're all great. Even cinnamon buns. We like buns, don't we? No, I'm just being silly. Okay, so listen, here is the great and amazing news. It's 11:11. It's 11:12, but it was 11:11. And I wanted to say that there's some stuff to talk about. So, my birthday is coming up, so we're gonna have a big online birthday party for me. The last party that I threw, hi Brenda, how are you? Really good to see you. The last party I threw, I actually looked back at the calendar. It was almost 3 years ago. And that was Otis's first birthday, because Otis is 3.5 right now. No, wait. He's almost 4. So it was like almost 3 years ago we had Otis's first birthday party. I'm not really great with maths, but you can't discount me for that. Anyway, and nobody showed up to that party. And that was a real life party, right? So since then, I've not really wanted to throw parties. But now that I have you all, I feel like I'd have enough people show up, I'd be happy about it. So what day is that going to be? What day am I going to throw my birthday party? Well, I can't tell y'all my actual birthday because that's dangerous. And I keep myself as safe as possible after loads of problems with sharing too much information to people that I've never met in person, or even people that I have met in person. But I will say that we'll be celebrating it on June 6th, which is a Thursday, because the other part of my news is I was invited in to the 24-hour Tarathon of 2019. And there's only 22 other people that are invited by the Hermit's Cave. So I'm really, 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 really excited. I've been holding that information in for months until my name actually came up on the printed ballot, and it's up there, and it's been posted to YouTube, so now I feel like I can talk about it, and I'm just like uber excited. So you're definitely attending Madam Butterfly. Great. So I found out the date of the Tarathon. The 24-hour Tarathon that Hermit's Cave, aka our buddy Simon, who we all love, is going to be June 2nd and 3rd, 24 hours long. It's going to go into 2 different days. And thank you very much, you guys. I was so flippin' honored. So flippin' honored. So it's going to be for 24 total hours, and I'll be getting the schedule to you guys, or you can, because I don't know how to get a picture of something online, because I'm just not that, like, good with technology. But, Simon the Hermit's Cave, will be posting things about the 24-hour Tarathon. But I do know that it's June 2nd and 3rd. That's why I'm gonna, and it's 24 hours straight, and I think the 18th hour or the 19th hour or something, so I'm pretty far in the tally. I'm gonna watch the whole entire thing, and then I'm gonna sleep for half a day before and after. So I'm gonna have my birthday party be 2 days later on June 6th, and we're gonna have a YouTube online birthday party. I don't know how long it'll be, but we'll get all those details worked out. But on June 6th, okay, that's not my birthday, but it's close to it. on June 6th, we're going to be having an online birthday party for me, so I'm going to be really excited. People asked before, will there be cake? Of course there'll be cake. I'm sure that my mother will make me a brownie cake like she usually does, or just like one of those basic yellow cakes with chocolate frosting, which I love. 12-hour live stream megathon. Maybe. Who knows? Maybe. As long as you're not working. And so the reason why I'm telling everybody now is because I've had a lot of people through Skype say, you said something about your birthday. Can I send you a birthday gift? Yes, of course you can. But I don't put my address or my P.O. box out on YouTube. So you have to let me know through Skype if you want my address and you want to send something. And I will be opening gifts, just like on Yule when we opened Yule and Christmas gifts from people. It was very, very great. And that's one of my favorite things is getting, you know, these beautiful and amazing witchcraft family mails. And that's what I've been reading to you guys lately is Gift from Friends. So, very, very, very good stuff. I know that you guys are also interested in the doll deck that I've been working on. Here's like a little tiny view of all the cards. I've done 13 of each color. There's 13 red, 13 orange, 13 yellow, green, blue. No purple, but... And here's just some previews of the doll decks. And also, I made a humongous doll deck, and I still have, from that one book, this many more pictures of dolls. So I can make many, many decks from this book. I'm really in love with the doll decks. So yeah, this one totally reminds me of a hermit, so that'll probably be... I probably make the doll deck into a tarot deck, which I've never done before. I've only done oracle decks, right? Intuitive oracle decks. But here's some great of the orange category. Look at this doll. It's just so ridiculously, like, stunned. Like, what? Some real big goodies in here. She's scares the shit out of me, by the way. I'm not even lying. Like, I can't keep her on the top. I have to keep her covered because I just feel like it's just too much. This one I like, too. It's like a mugshot. Thanks, Madam Butterfly. She says, they're fab, Jen. So I cut these all by hand. I stamped that by hand. Like, I'm just using, like, thick paper, not paper, what do you want to call it? What do you want to call it? What do you want to call it? Not paper, but, cardstock, right? Thick cardstock. In that book of dolls that I got, and I did a thrift haul on it, like, I don't know, 6 or 7 months ago, I got this book of dolls in a thrift haul. I really want to make all the bottoms of my mugs say something so that when I drink out of them it says something to you guys. I think that would be hilarious. But this is Queen Victoria. Yes, it is, which in my belief is the same person as this. And I'm not going to say it out loud. I'll just show ya. So I do believe in David Icke, and I think that these are the same people. Not him. I do. And I also think, what? Was even Elizabeth I the same person? Who knows? This one is my card. This looks like me when I was a little girl. I kind of always had this same look, and I'll show you pictures of me when I was small sometime when we're at Peggy's and we have a chance to do it. But this card is me, for sure. So whatever that card turns into, it's going to be the taxidermy witch. Also, look, here's King Henry VIII and one of his wives. There was a bunch of really interesting dolls that I put into this yellow category. Quippy doll. This one's just freaking scary because her head's way too small and her body's way too big. Like, so good. Hey, Goddess Queen 33, I'm glad you're here. How are you? And tomorrow morning, y'all, I'm going to be going on really early. Or really late. I haven't decided because my mom, I like this one too. He just looks like a, I don't know how to explain it. Super excited about those though. Let's look at some green ones. And then we'll look at the blue ones. Some kind of joker or jester, right? So you can take books, cut them up, and make them into anything, and just make them into like really awesome, lovely tarot cards. This one's super spooky because her eyes aren't all the way open or all the way shut. Some pretty creepy dolls in here. So this is my creepy doll deck. She had some kind of like crocheted witch cap on, which I loved. Alright, anyway, and a couple of the blue, and then we'll be done. Look at this little lad. He's on his way somewhere. You're so in your zone today. Relax energy. That's awesome, Goddess Queen. I'm super happy. Starlight, how are you? I miss you so much. I'm doing really well. It's so good to see you. Starlight Spell Singer's here. If y'all haven't checked out her channel, love this one, by the way. Make sure to, because she has a great, amazing little witchy channel. I'm glad that she put it in the big cap so she would be sure I'd see it. So this, each color has 13 cards, and it's in a deck of its own. It's, of course, not finished. I haven't written a book for it yet or anything, but it's on its way. I finished the Lust deck this morning, and I actually ended up in making the Lust deck. Remember the Book of Lust that I had? Well, I just took a plain old box. I painted it black. I can't really show it because it would be not a part of my channel. But look, I made it into a game. Because I didn't want to write a book for a Lust tarot deck because that would be just not my like super thing. So instead I made it into a game with a box that I painted, and look how big these cards are, and there's just all kinds of things in here. I know I've shown this from far away a couple of times, but I would use it as like a suggestive game for sex magic if you wanted to get your sex magic on. But there are a lot of cards in this deck, and they're all super fun. And they're all real personal ads that came out of The Stranger from Seattle. And they're just fantastic. I'm so happy to have made this deck and so proud to have made this deck. So that, if anybody's interested, let me know. I'm not going to put it on the Etsy page unless somebody wants to buy it. Otherwise, I'm just going to take it to the farmers markets in Houston and sell them there. All the different decks that I'm making, because right now I need to create and save money for later. So inside of the box of tricks will go the cards. And basically you just draw 3 cards and decide how much fun you're going to have that night, you know? Draw 3 cards, pick an idea from one of them because they're very suggestive, and then figure out what kind of fun you want to have that night. So that is the Lust deck that I've created. It is finished, and it's just going to have a tiny book that says, hey, if that's your thing, then pick 3 or cards and pick something from it. So Metalhead Love Bug Goth, just go ahead and find me on either my Etsy, which is Jack Shy Lady, or Jen the Taxidermy Witch on Skype, which is probably the easiest, and we can talk about things like that. But I generally don't talk about price on my channel, just because. Alright, so let's see, I want to, so I've told you the 11/11 updates, which is my birthday party that's coming up, and which is also the 24-hour Tarot-thon. So birthday party on June 6th, right? And then 24-hour Tarot-thon, which I'm part of from Hermit's Cave on June 2nd and 3rd. So the first week of June is just going to be such a great week for me. And believe me, being on 24-hour Tarot-thon will be the biggest birthday gift I could ever ask for. I love doing things before my birthday, like having all these celebrations before my birthday, and then my birthday actually comes and I'm just like, yay, I love it. Yeah, thanks, Starlight. That's fantastic. Um, okay, so I have a whole like blanket set up outside so that we could go outside and read. So let's do that. Use the loo and then we'll go out and read some books, just like we've been doing yesterday, the day before, and the day before. Yes, the leg lamp used to be down below on Santa Muerte's altar, but I moved it up because I gave Santa Muerte other things. I thought that she was gonna like the leg lamp, um, but I didn't end up feeling that way after all. So I put the leg lamp up by Effie. That's not always been there. I used to have feathers up there. When I came home from Texas, I rearranged the studio. So, um, yes, these are one of a kind. There's only ever going to be one. So if somebody wants it, just let me know. It's really, really going to be a fun game for somebody who wants to get their sex magic on, right? They were going to be oracle cards, but I didn't want to write the book for it, so I just left it up to the imagination. Now let's go outside. I've got a blanket set up already, and I've got my books. I've got me books. I just need y'all. Let's go. You're going to have to excuse the messy house, so I promise that you won't tell anybody about it. I use my foot to open the door. Why not? Are we on? Yep. Alright, let's go. Such a sunny day. Oh, I forgot my shades. Well, right. Alejandro? Alex? I don't know where my spin went, but... Great. We're gonna find a new place to sit. Perhaps over in the back corner. Because the landlord seems to be out doing his thing in the sunshine too, which is whatever. It's whatever. Let's do our thing over here though. Put y'all here. Under the maple tree. Right. Here we are. Hey Alyssa, how are you? It's been a long time since I've seen you. Nice to see you. So let's see. What do you guys want to read from today? We've got two books that we haven't read any from yet, which have been in my pile. Hi Mama Hennessy, how are you? I have Gardener's Magic and Gardener's Lore. And we've been reading from the compilation book of that, which is called Old Wives' Lore for Gardeners. So I figure we'll just continue on in that. And we've also been picking chapters from this book, which was a gift from very, very beloved Lunia's Muse. Sent this to me after I asked for it just 5 days ago, and now it's in my hand, so thank you so much. Old Wives Lore? You bet. And we've also got this that we're going to read a bit from. So we'll start on Old Wives Lore. So loud out here. Hey, yeah, thanks for everybody that hit the like button. You found stuff out and about. You found out stuff about the two authors. Okay, great, Madam Butterfly, tell us. Bridget Boland was an extremely smart lady who studied at Oxford University and ended up becoming a playwright. Right, remember we read that in the very beginning? And she has a wiki, and then she decided to start writing the book. That's so cool. I think in the very beginning we learned about that playwright information, but man, that's so cool. I didn't know that she studied at Oxford and all of that. Where was it that I read? Oh, remember when we read the publisher's note and about the author? Yep, it does say that she was a playwright. That's awesome. Thank you, Madam Butterfly, for contributing that. I appreciate it more than you know. I don't really understand why the neighbor has to use the leaf blower right now, but can you guys hear me okay? Front cover 2 days before she died. Bridget passed in 1988. You wanted to find out more, but that's all you could find. That's amazing! That's so cool. Thank you, guys. Nice and clear. Okay, I'm just gonna move out of the sun a bit then, because I'm too hot. I'm a temperature gal. Okay, there we go. The sun's out of my eyes. The mailman is leaving. It's all good. So we were talking about last time we talked when we were speaking of old wives, lore, and gardeners. I don't know what that means, Uncle Badger. Oh yeah. I think some of the last things we were talking about yesterday was using beer, boots, eggshell. Oh, Alex, can you come here really quick? Can you tell me what peat pots are? Are peat pots the tiny things that you put seedlings in to like get a start out of?
Right. They start off looking like round discs, and then you soak them in water, and they go.
And then they get bigger.
And then they have a little hole in the middle for the seed to go sit down in, and they're just made of peat moss, and it cuts down on mold.
So my book was telling us that you could use egg boxes as peat pots.
Yeah.
Egg boxes with a little dirt. Do you think that would work?
Right. Yeah, you could do that.
Yeah. Because egg boxes you could bury right in the ground, and the roots would grow through them and everything, right?
Right.
Okay. Thanks, hon. Okay, so where we left off was weather. Because the last thing that we talked about was the use for horsetail, old nylons, beer, boots, and not peat pots, but egg boxes. We learned yesterday that boots, listen to this, never throw away boots and shoes in the dustbin, but bury them in the garden. Leather is full of good things and they will not rot. Eventually, except for the loathsome rubber, the plastic soles which can be retrieved. The salts in human sweats are not without uses either. So it's saying to plant old boots in your garden because the leather's really good once it breaks down and goes into the dirt. And then also the sweat from your body in the boots would be good with the dirt. What do you think about that?
I just think it would be it would be weird because I mean it might work. I mean, but I just depending on the plant, it would have a hard time. It couldn't grow through it, obviously.
Right. I think
So
they're
it
more
just have
talking
to
about
go
putting
around
it
it.
in the compost and getting that into your compost then,
Like shredding the leather, maybe.
no, just letting it break down in the middle of your compost heap.
I don't know. Yeah, I have never heard that.
Yeah, no, lots of these things we've never heard, but they're pretty interesting.
Look what I got from my Patreon, my Weird Fruit Explorer.
Alex is
These
a
are
member of Weird Fruit Explorer, and he got these from his Patreon.
they're barberries from Russia or
Russia,
something.
because look at the...
Right, or from the Middle East.
Oh, I think Russia, though, look.
I also included barberries, which are used as a spice in the Middle East. Most popular dishes use them is zirish palo, which is a tasty rice dish with aromatic ingredients like rose petal, orange rind. He also included this, which is some mango seeds. That they use mango seeds. They're cut up and edible mango seeds. He said, I reviewed seeds that were edible, so I included mango seeds to mark the occasion. These are commonly eaten in India after meals as a mouth freshener. If you have sensitive mouth allergy, don't eat them, blah, blah, blah. So yeah, they're little bits of mango that look like they're dried and preserved. And yeah, I'm going to give one a try. I've never eaten a mango seed.
Okay, so
Oh,
y'all,
wow.
it looks like when we get mandrake root from the metaphysical shop, how it's cut in half and like dry. Sometimes you'll find mandrake root like this.
Salty.
Salty? Oh my god, it's salty. It's like a peanut.
Yeah, it's very peanutty.
That's nuts.
Yeah.
That's nuts. Oh yeah, there you are.
Cool.
Thanks for sharing, hon.
Yeah. That's interesting. Never had that before. The rhubarb behind you is going huge.
Oh yeah, we just talked about rhubarb yesterday. Do you guys remember what we said about rhubarb? There's some rhubarb. What did we say about rhubarb? Planting it with other stuff would do what? Man! Let's look it up in the back. Hey Alex, I know something about rhubarb. PQR rhubarb 35. I was right, we did read it yesterday. Guess what, Alex? Come here, I'll tell you. Bury a stick of rhubarb. So it's talking about clubroot. Do you know what clubroot is when it talks about controlling diseases? Have you heard of clubroot? You've never heard of that garden disease?
Club root?
Mm-hmm.
No.
Oh, well it says bury a stick of rhubarb here and there in the bed when planting cabbages and avoid clubroot. So if you're trying to plant cabbages, you can bury stalks of rhubarb, wherever it was, yeah, out there, right below it, and you can avoid the clubroot. And then also said a bunch of stuff about green fly, caterpillars, ants, woolly aphids, and white fly, earwigs, like how to get these things out of your garden, slugs.
That's cool.
So you should watch my video from yesterday. Or read this book, either one. Okay, so we're going to talk about weather. There's this beautiful little image there that's been illustrated by someone who is great. Oh, that noise is driving me nuts, Lisa. Weather.
He's almost done with this side.
Is he
He's
pressure
done,
washing?
They sold the house, so I don't know why they're doing that.
I know, right? Why are you still working when you should be... That was almost over. Okay, so weather. In these days of weather forecasting satellites, old methods may be despised, but meteorological offices only give us a very broad general picture. And old people in the district should always be listened to for ways of foretelling local conditions. And that's exactly what Old Wives' Lore is all about. Is listening to the old people in your circle for the ways of foretelling local conditions. On our summer holidays in France as children, we always knew that it was going to rain the next day if we could see distinctly the white cliffs of the Kentish coast across from the northwest reach of the Channel. Kent is up in Scotland, isn't it? And from a certain flat in Rome, the same could be said if you pick out actual houses on the distant slopes of the Alban Hills. In the country calendar of the Shepherd of Banbury rules of the late 17th century, there is a pleasing variant given in 3 languages of the old adage, red sky at night, shepherd's delight. I've heard this from Peep Show. I did hear it in Peep Show. What episode was it? I can't recall. I will recall later though. Red sky at night, shepherd's delight. Jez says it, by the way. Red in the morning, shepherd's warning. It gives us a pleasing picture of the pilgrim trudging across the Europe in older times. In England, writes the author John Claridge, a red evening and a grey morning sets the pilgrim a-walking. In French, thus, I'm not going to say these in French, Italian, and English, but it does say them in French, Italian, and English. I'll say it in English, though. In the day of the moon, a cloudy morning bodes a fair afternoon. Again, when clouds appear like rocks and towers, the earth's refreshed by frequent showers. He says this in his own observation. He says that in his own observation has confirmed the saying that a general mist before sunrise near the full moon denotes fair weather in a fortnight. A fortnight is 2 weeks. For those of you who are in America or otherwise and don't know what a fortnight is, it took me a long time to figure out what a fortnight was. It's 2 weeks' time. If this is seen in the new moon, there will be wet weather in the last fortnight as it grows, or in the last 2 weeks as it grows old. But he warns us not to predict from the first night of the new moon, but from a couple of nights later. Cool, right, Nello? I love it. Cherrybug D says, it's a saying here, but we say red sun at night, sailor's delight. Red sun in the morning, sailors take warning. Yeah, that's what's in Peep Show, I think. I think that's what Jez says, Cherrybug D. Thank you for telling me that. So there's another little depiction here, and it's of a peacock and a stork, from what I can understand. And that's cool. I like that a lot. In Texas, where we'll be moving, there's so many birds. There's so many tropical birds. It's just... I didn't know Texas was like that, but I guess Texas that I saw in movies wasn't along the Gulf Coast. So, yes, amazing. All right. Thanks to binging Jen's Wicca Book Club, LOL, I love our community. Oh, no, thanks. I'm not Wiccan, but a lot of the books that I read from are from Wiccans, so that's absolutely right. And then Madame Butterfly, who's also from Britain, says that my nan used to say the sailor's one, which I think came from the book. All right, so here we go. In hot weather, when the wind has been southerly blown for 2 or 3 days, he says the clouds are piled like towers on one another with black on neither side. There will be a thunder and a rain suddenly, and if 2 such castles arise on one either hand, it is time to take shelter hastily. If clouds look dusty, or if a tarnished silver color, and move very slowly, it's a sign of hail. Which if there be a mixture of blue in the clouds, will be small but very yellow large. Above all things, he advises us, watch the bees, for it is going to rain if they will not leave the hives, or fly only short distances from the hives. Okay? We make no apology for quoting proverbs, for, as Bacon said, they are the philosophy of the common people. Here is a versified collection of many of them from the New Book of Knowledge published in 1758. So here are proverbs from 1758 based on these lovely things. You ready? England uses the shepherd one a lot. Okay, that's probably why I've heard it in Peep Show then. So here is the one from 1758. Ready? I'm going to say it. It's long. This is going to be a big long poem. If ducks and drakes their wings do not flutter high, or tender colts upon their blocks to die, if sheep do bleat or play and skip about, Or swine hide by straw bearing on their snout. If oxen lick themselves against the hair, or gazing kine to feed apace appear. If cattle bellow gazing from below, or if dogs' entrails rumble to and fro. If doves and pigeons in the evening come, later than usual, to their dove house home. If crows and daws do oft themselves bewit, or ants and primisirs home apace do get. If in the dust hens do their poisonous shake, or by their flocking a great number make. If swallows fly upon the water low, or woodlice seem in armies for to go. If flies or gnats or fleas infest and bite, or sting more than they're wont by day and night. If toads hine home of frogs and do amain, or peacocks cry soon after look of rain. That was the bit, and I thought it was really pretty. And hey, they were talking about peacocks. Moufett in the 17th century theater of insects observed that if gnats at sunset do play up and down in the open air, they presage heat, but if altogether sting those that pass by, when cold weather and much rain, they won't help you. He says, to find water in times of drought here, after sunrise, they will look around in obelisk. Okay, and now we're on to the section that talks about dry weather. I guess we should get through the whole weather section. I'm tired of this book, but I'm hoping it's going to get better. You know. Dry weather. However foretold, when the dry weather comes, we must water. Sages advise us to water only in the mornings between mid-September and May, even when the watering in new plants should not be done in the last of the day. Icy at night, it damaged the roots. Alright, here we go. This is a big deal, and my dad's always told me this about gardening. You garden before the sun comes up or after the sun's gone down. I mean, you water. You water at 6 a.m. if the sun comes up at 8. You got to give it time, because if the water is sitting on the leaf of that plant and the water comes down, it will cook the plant. It will burn the plant. So what you need to do is not water at 2 p.m. on the hottest of the day so it scalds. You need to water at night. Hey, Tangerine. Was shaken. You need to either water early in the morning before the sun comes up or at night after it's gone down. Or kind of at sunset would be a really lovely time, I'm guessing. But it depends on the plant. We read that when planting a peach, you should sink a pipe 1.5 inches or more in diameter and a couple of feet long upright alongside it, with its top just above the surface, and water onto its hot weather to encourage the roots to go down and supply them with enough moisture there. As we grow several huge roses such as kifskate and Himalayan musk up to trees, and we've been talking about roses that climb along trees, haven't we? Although properly speaking, of course, water from a butt should always be used. This is a slow process of one who has to stand by the quickly filling and slowly emptying pipe with a can. So in a long dry season, we confess, we turn on the hose, put the end down the pipe, and leave it slowly trickling for as much as 1/4 of an hour. And at any rate, on a steep sandy hillside, we have roses growing 30 feet high after 5 years, doing well, and bidding fair to grow another 10 feet or so. The gardener of Palazzo in Rome, responsible for the staggering display of plants in the great earthenware containers on the terraces, amazed us by saying that he only watered them twice a week, even in the height of summer. Each container had 2 or 3 holes at the bottom of the front surface. That's called drainage. These would be stopped with bungs. I don't know what a bung is. And the container watered till 2 inches of water stood on the surface of the soil. for a quarter of an hour. Then the bungs would be taken out. Maybe the bungs were corks. Any tendency for the soil to leach out was combated by frequent top dressing with mulches and the removal of some of the soil every autumn and digging in quantities of manure. Usually a mixture of sheep dung and a leaf and bark compost. Certainly huge azaleas and oleanders, we love oleander, flourished under this treatment, as well as geraniums, plebungo, and such, but even fuchsias did not suffer from it. Alright, now we're going to talk about colder weather. When frost is expected, plants in need of perfection should, to our surprise, be sprayed with cold water in the evening, which will generate enough heat in evaporating to prevent frost damage. After a hot, dry summer, the bracken, so useful to cover plants with against frost, tends to have very little substance, and after a few weeks to have shriveled almost away. At such times, the top hamper of Michaelmas daisies can be cut back as soon as flowering is over and used for the same purpose. Piled cross-hatched, it will give... What is cross-hatched piled? Do you know? Lattice piled?
Right.
Cross-hatched piled is piling like a lattice, will give almost as good cover. It is particularly indestructible, as anyone will know who has been foolish enough to include it in the compost heap. And then there's a little bit of wordage here in this lovely drawing that says, what we would that we know why and where and in what weather was the anonymous poet, and he wrote, O western wind, when wilt thou blow? That the small rain down shall rain. Christ, that my love were in my arms and in my bed again. That's a weird thing to say at the end of cold weather, but we're just going to go with it because Maureen and Bridget said it. And I'm reading their book. So next out of this book, we'll be reading a section called Gardener's Magic, and it's really focusing on that other book that we were talking about. And then there's a separate foreword for it. So this is a really good place to take a pause and say that we are halfway through the book. Really excited to read this and the others. What were the announcements? Remember, the 11 and 11 announcements were that June 2nd and 3rd, we will all be participating by watching Simon at the Herman Caves following his 24-hour telethon, which I have been asked to be a part of, and I can't even tell you how much that means to me, and I've been keeping that a secret for months. But it's happening. And then we're going to throw my birthday on June 6th. And so we're going to have a YouTube birthday party, and it's going to be loads of fun. So, for those of you that want to be a part of that, I'm super excited. Lucy in the sky with diamonds. You're right, Heather Foley. Yes, so June 6th, it's a Thursday. That's the day we're going to throw my party. Alright, so you guys, I will probably come back on later on. I've got some work to do, and I will see you guys all super soon. Have a really, really beautiful day. And thanks for joining me, Jen the Taxidermy Witch, while we talked about old wives' lore.